My path is already set out. I'm doing well. This entrepreneurship thing is looking more risky now. Like, where do I even start? And at that point in time, I wasn't even sure what I wanted to do. I even tell people I never thought I would become an entrepreneur doing accounting work, because I always felt like, I don't want to say it was boring, but I felt like at the time, it seemed boring to me because of the way in which we were doing business as professionals. It was very manual, people sitting with spreadsheets, capturing things from bank statements. And I was like, I can't imagine doing that, because for me, I get my joy from seeing people being impacted, seeing there being a difference being made in their business, and seeing their business grow. So my sister's passing really was like a catalyst for me to say, is this really what I want to do with my life? Because my sister, even though she passed at 19 years old, she had a big impact on our community. Lots of people spoke about that. And I was like, what am I doing with my life? Like, am I really living my life to my fullest potential? Where in my life have I limited myself, And I really took that, big loss for me to really ask myself deeper questions. I remember she passed in Jan. I registered Elite in May of 2019. And officially, fully went into it during COVID, which is July 2020.
Wow. And now it has grown into a global firm with offices in Johannesburg and London.
Yes.
What was your vision when you actually first started, and how has it evolved? I mean, you talk about the passing of your sister and the fact that now you started questioning what you wanted to do with your life. Now you launched this business. What was the vision then, and how has it evolved over the years?
So I think when I first started Elite, I knew that I wanted it to be one of the biggest firms in the country. I think that was my vision from the start. I think, I always talk about this witness that people go into business. Like I always say to people, don't leave your job that's nice and comfortable, that you don't have to stress about, for entrepreneurship if you're going to play small, right? If you're going in entrepreneurship and you're only stressing about, can I get a purchase order from a corporate company, right? And I always say, when I come across entrepreneurs, especially in South Africa, I feel like we think too small sometimes. Like we think, we're not thinking of ourselves like, I'm starting this business, but I have a bigger vision in mind, like a global vision for where I want to go. And I think for me, it was always like, I wanted Elite to be known across the world. That was always my vision. How it's playing out has always evolved. Like, what type of services we're offering, who are really our clientele. Like, it's changed. Like, from when we started, I always knew that I love technology, and accounting was the easy way in. People would come to me and say, Lornelle, can you help us with our books? Then you start dealing with business owners. You're like, okay. Even our industry itself hasn't even evolved to the way that technology has evolved. And I think that's where my love for Xero came in, and technology was like, someone introduced me to Xero. I was like, oh, things have changed in our industry from when I was last at PwC. We've now got cloud platforms. There's more efficient ways of doing it. I can now leverage this information to do what I actually love, which is advising clients on strategy, how to implement strategy, how to grow their businesses. So I think how it's evolved from when I started, I think in terms of me saying, we're going to go into the UK, I always knew I wanted it to go into the UK. I didn't think we would do it as fast as we did now, but I think technology has helped us. And I think the clients that we serve now, that's how it's changed from when we started.
What were the clients then, and what are the clients now?
I think in the beginning, Witness, we just took on anyone that was like, I want an accountant.
You wanted
right?
money.
No, I think it's like you're trying to assess. I think it's part of a business. You can't say, I'm not going to accept a client. You accept a client. Obviously, there's clients where you're like, okay, no, this client I can't take because they actually cannot afford my services. Then there are clients that can afford your services, but then you're like, the relationship is not working. They don't have a vision for their own business, so it doesn't work, right? They don't want to do the right thing. One of the things, Witness, that we constantly get challenged with as accounting professionals is that you have a business owner that wants an end result. And they don't understand that as accounting professionals, we have an ethics code that we have to abide by, right? So people will come to you and say, can you please reduce this number for us? And you're just like, we can't do that, right? Because there's a law, there's a tax law that tells us you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but you definitely cannot do that. And then you find people coming and then you realize, okay, no, this client actually doesn't want to do the right thing, people want to break rules. And yeah, so then with that, you kind of shape, the type of client you want. You kind of develop questions as to now interviewing the client instead of them interviewing you. Some clients we also let go after 3 months. You also don't know they're going to be a fit, and we just decide. So I think our processes have definitely evolved as to who we onboard as a client. So it's not every person that walks through our doors now that we accept as a client.
Wow, awesome. Guys, if you are watching this, please keep on engaging. Let us know which part of the conversation resonates with you. And you must remember that on the 1st of March, we've got the It's More Than Just Money Business and Property Seminar taking place at the Southern Sun Hotel in Rosebank in Johannesburg. Get your tickets on web tickets. Look at the information that's on the screen and check more information in the description box. You don't want to miss the day. We've got Stan Katz, who's the founder of Prime Media and one of the founders of Radio 702, is going to be a speaker that day. I will be there speaking on the day. And we've got Vivian Mukume, who is a master at sales and network marketing. I think you'll learn a lot about building a network-based business and basically scaling any business. So I'm looking forward to seeing you there. And yes, remember to subscribe as well. So Lornelle, when you talk about the scale and you talk about the fact that you had to let go of certain clients because you realized that some values did not align with how you wanted your business to evolve. What were some of the challenges, the biggest challenges you faced in scaling a leak advisory then? And how did you overcome them?
Okay, so let me think about this. There's only one real thing that comes to mind for me, right? I think it's been people, right? The people part of our business. If you think about it, yes, we have tech, we have all of those things, but finding the right people. I think the biggest place where I've lost money with the business has been with hiring the wrong people for our firm. And I think, I was actually saying to someone, I think every time I think back at those school fees that I paid, I'm like, yeah.
And then you call it school fees.
Because it's like, you just like, because, witness, and this is where I feel like my clients can relate with me, because I'm also running a business. So whatever I'm telling them, we can relate on the challenges that we're facing. Many of the clients that I have, they come to me, they're like, it's month end. The worst part for me is like paying people that I know.
Payroll for people who are not working.
Yeah. And I really, then I started realizing, okay, you want to hire people, but like, how do you hire? How do you assess? Yes, you have questions. You do the whole thing. You do a reference check here. You won't know until that person is in, And I think what I've learned is that over time, I've had to say, okay, Lornelle, this is definitely a blind spot for you.
Yes.
I think I always say to people, I had a conversation with a friend one day and he said to me, why don't you rather just accept that you're not good at hiring? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, no, just say that in you selecting people, that's not an area of strength for you. And you have to, once you actually acknowledge it, you won't try and solve this thing on your own. Yes, you can contribute to it, because I think my strength is once people are inside the business, I can get them to do whatever they need to do to perform it the way they need to perform. But I think, you have to be able to say, okay, this is not an area that I'm strong in, and let me call for help. And I also had to go through the process of going through different service providers from an HR perspective and saying, okay,